Yeah, whatever you think, man.
Whatever I think.
You did not hear that. You know what? God is good. And because he is so good, we are loved. All the time. God is good.
Yes.
But we are not good all the time.
Nope.
See, left to our own devices, we can be some bad apples. And sometimes we can produce some bad fruit. But through God's goodness and his mercy, he made a way that we can still have relationship with him. Now, we are good to the core because of redemption. It's not about how bad we can be. It's about how good God is. Woo! And how he took a sinner like you and a sinner like me, and he created us for a purpose. We're talking about it all. The good, the bad, the wins, the losses,
Life, love, and all of the above.
Yes,
It's the Bad Apples Podcast.
Praise God.
That's right.
Man, Garrett, how are you, man? It's been a while.
Oh, yeah. It's been about 20 minutes since we did our last episode. So if you're just joining us,
Hello.
Welcome to the Bad Apples Podcast. We are glad that you're here. My name is Garrett. Across the desk from me is my friend, your friend, everybody's friend, Cody.
Yeah.
And we love getting together and talking with each other.
We do.
And we just happen to record those conversations and let you listen to them as well.
Yeah.
So that's what, our best episodes, that's the way it is like,
For sure.
When we're not really thinking podcast, we're thinking just like,
We're just
two
hitting
dudes
record,
talking.
man.
Yep.
Yeah, just hit
Two
record.
dudes talking.
Anyway,
Anyway,
some record on some fancy equipment and having some coffee
that's right.
and just, two
Just
dudes
hanging out.
looking at each other.
That's right.
So,
our coffee. I forgot to tell people we're in a 3-part series called the Summer Warm Up.
Summer Warm.
So the reason is you are leaving for a trip.
Yep.
And then while you're still gone on your trip, I leave for a trip.
Yeah.
And so we won't see each other for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, summer, man. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
You have to FaceTime me.
Yes, that's right. Call you.
We've never done that before.
I've called you from the boat, but I don't think I FaceTimed you.
No FaceTiming.
I'm not a FaceTimer.
Yeah.
I don't even like it with my kids. Mostly because they take the phone and they run off with it, and then I get motion sickness.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, but
I love it. He is a FaceTimer. And I FaceTime my parents, but that's different.
I'm not.
He is a FaceTimer. She'll FaceTime.
I don't like Zoom. I don't like Zoom. I don't like FaceTime.
I don't like Zoom either. Hey, let's take a moment of silence for Skype.
Skype gone?
Yeah, Skype is officially gone. Now, when people hear this, it would be 4 weeks gone.
Oh, wow.
But
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
That is kind of crazy. What kind of prediction do you want to make for 3 weeks from now?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Anything wild going to happen in our world?
I don't know.
3 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, when you hear this,
I'll give you one. The Knicks will be in the finals, the NBA finals.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to run over the Pacers.
Love it. There you go.
Yep.
So, anyway, I don't care about basketball. I just know that the Celtics lost and you're sad.
Yeah, you had to bring it up, didn't you?
That's right. Hey, our coffee is cold.
It is not hot.
We've been drinking the same coffee for the last, 2 hours. And so it makes me wonder, though.
Ooh.
Are you a cold coffee person?
Wow.
Do you like cold coffee? Like intentionally cold, not like sitting in your mug for 2 hours and it happens to be cold.
Yes.
Okay.
I do like it. It depends on where it's at.
So, okay. There are 3 different kinds of cold coffee.
Okay.
There's iced coffee.
Yep.
There's cold brew.
Yep.
And there's cold espresso.
Oh.
So
Wait a minute.
we didn't talk about that in the pre-show phone call.
Have I had cold espresso?
Have you ever had any like the shaken espressos from Starbucks?
Yeah. I like
They're
those.
cold. Yeah.
I'll give you that with Starbucks. I like their shaken espressos.
Okay. Well, I mean, Starbucks and their espresso drinks, it's sugar.
I do.
Sugar and
Yeah, I do think,
sugar and milk, man. People love it.
I do think they're decent.
Yeah. Now, they give me the rumbly tumblies. Shaken espressos.
Woo! What gives you is it the dairy?
It's so much milk.
So much milk.
So much milk. Because when I get a cold drink, it's always the biggest cold drink because it's like I drink it so much faster.
Yeah, same.
So, anyway, so
Okay.
Those that are listening at home,
Yes.
or wherever you're listening,
Yes.
they probably, maybe, I don't want to say probably, that's not expecting very much of our listeners,
Yeah.
but
We've set a standard for them, man. They need to know what coffee
yeah.
is.
So iced coffee, cold brew, and iced espresso are all different because both iced coffee and iced espresso are still made with heat.
Yes.
So
correct.
the heat is incorporated into the brewing system there. Whereas cold brew is brewed cold.
Right.
It takes a long time,
Long time.
and it's
At least 12 hours, but
It- yeah,
24 is the optimal.
it is a cold brewing cycle.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that is the difference. And
Yes.
are you of the mind that there is a difference in the taste of all of those?
I am very much, and I was getting ready to say,
Yes.
the taste of cold brew coffee is so much better.
Yes.
I that is my preferred way. If I had, I don't have a cold brew brewer anymore, but when I get one, that is my preferred way of doing coffee.
Yeah.
Is a cold brew. I love the taste that you get out of so many different coffees with a cold brew.
Yeah.
I love a cold brew tasting coffee. I love it. I used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
I used to cold brew all the time. I had a toddy, is what it was called,
Yep.
and I still have it. I just lost my cork that goes in the bottom,
Yeah,
so I just
kinda-
need to get a new cork.
Kind of need that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do absolutely. And man, I'm telling you, it depends for me. I have stopped unless I absolutely know the coffee shop and I know they're not going to give me, I have stopped getting cold coffee out because just last week I asked for, I'm not going to say the place. I asked for a cold brew. I said, "Do you guys have cold brew?" "Yeah, we have that." I'm like, "Okay." So they pour it and I realize, well, one, I can see through it. That's not cold brew.
No.
Two, you literally just brewed the coffee and then put it on ice.
Yep.
That's iced
Nope.
coffee.
Iced coffee.
That is not a cold brew coffee.
Nope.
So I get very frustrated when I feel like I'm immediately drinking water, and that's what I was doing. And so I'm very careful about where I get. I primarily don't order iced coffee. So I'll say that I don't order iced coffee because I just never get satisfied with an iced coffee.
Yeah.
But
Cold brew is good.
cold brew is very good.
And cold brew, it's going to be stronger because
Stronger.
yeah,
Yep. It's that
and
concentrated.
But then it holds up with the ice, and so
Sure does, man.
And
It's so thick and rich, and just, man, it's such a good drink of coffee.
But you can over steep it, and then it gets gross. you
True.
know? So yeah, I mean, I like good cold brew. What I like to do during the summer on like a really tough day,
Yeah.
if I need a little extra jolt,
Yeah.
we call it rocket fuel. And what you do is go to Starbucks, get yourself your cold brew, like a Venti or Trenta.
Yeah.
And then, with your sweet cream or whatever, but then have them put a shot of espresso in there too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. You get cleaned out and you are ready to roll.
You get ready to roll.
You are ready to roll. So
Man,
if you
yeah.
need like a detox purge and
Yeah.
you need to be ready to roll,
Yeah.
that stuff.
And I'll tell you this, I like a custom cup in Springfield.
Yeah.
I think they do a really good iced latte. And I don't put much in it. It's just a little bit of the cream. I do an extra shot, and they actually do a double shot. So my extra shot is 2 shots, basically. And, man, I get that coffee taste, but I get that really good, rich, latte taste as well. Like, it's not overly dairy, and it's
That's
not
right.
overly, and I don't add anything to it. I just want a latte, an iced latte.
Yeah.
And I love how they do an iced latte. So,
Yeah. My other, it's not coffee, but my other go-to, like warm weather.
Are you going to say
Pick me up.
chai?
No.
Oh.
Is,
Thank God.
the Lotus drinks. Have you had any of the Lotus energy
You're
drinks?
so big on the Lotus drinks. I don't like them.
Man. So good.
Too sweet for me.
So good.
Yeah, too
They're
sweet.
sweet and yummy.
Yeah,
Yummy.
too sweet. I don't like them.
Anyway.
You let me try one last summer.
That's right.
Yeah.
The atomic bomb from Scoop.
Yep.
Yeah, they have a blue Hawaiian too. If you make them with club soda, they're not nearly as sweet.
Okay.
But the lemonade, yeah, it's like sugar. your teeth feel fuzzy. Anyway,
For sure.
cold coffee, you like it. I'm about it.
Yeah.
So what I thought would be fun, still talking about summer.
Yeah.
Still getting going. Usually we have like, if we talk about stuff, we talk about stuff that makes our life better, so we've got like our top 5 or we've got a gift guide or we got anything like that.
Yeah.
But instead, I thought it'd be fun to do a wish list.
Okay.
Like what are there items that you are like wishing for this summer? You're on the hunt for this summer. Like if you can find the perfect one of these, your summer is going to be just chef's kiss perfect.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I can go first.
Go first.
One of the things I'm on the hunt for
Okay.
before our beach vacation is a backpack cooler.
Of course you are.
But like a backpack cooler that is waterproof inside and out, that's soft sided, but like not a cold bag. So some people, like my wife, has a backpack cooler that she thinks is just great.
Right.
But really all it is like an Aldi cold bag with backpack straps. It's like, no, that's not going to do. That's not going to do the job. That's not what I want.
You need one of the fancy ones.
I want one of the rubberized ones that you could
gosh.
hose down and get the sand off of it.
Just get a Yeti.
That's what I want, except for they're expensive.
Of course they are.
So I'm trying to find a Yeti alternative that's not going to break the bank.
Arctic.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. And have that backpack cooler. So that's one of the things I'm on the hunt for.
Okay.
Another thing that I'm on the hunt for is like I frequently shop at Sierra.
Yeah.
And I always look at the sunglasses.
Oh man.
Because like these bad boys, these Timberlands.
Yeah.
Look at these things.
Timberlands, man.
Yeah.
Those are nice. That's my style.
Yeah,
right there.
you like this?
Yeah, I do.
You know how much these were?
$10.
$10.
Where?
$10.
Sierra?
At Sierra. And so
I'm on the hunt for new sunglasses.
they always have cheap sunglasses. And you know what I like about that? I hate spending big money on sunglasses.
Never will.
I love nice sunglasses. I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
People that spend a lot of money on sunglasses,
Yeah.
they're great. They really are. I've had Oakley's, great. Ray-Bans, great.
Man.
I've had, I feel like I had Costas at one point too.
Wow.
Like the Under Armour ones. I've had Nike sunglasses. You know what? You know where they all are?
Lost
or broken.
Yep.
And
Can't do
so
it, man.
I figured out, especially now as a dad,
Yep.
with kids that run off with crap,
Yep.
and I'm already trying to keep track of them. I can't keep track of my sunglasses too.
Yeah.
So I'm always on the hunt for the perfect pair of cheap sunglasses.
Yeah.
I really like the Gooder glasses,
Okay, I've heard of those.
but they do kind of look like teenager glasses.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they
They have the wood on the side, or the wood looking. Is that what you're talking about?
No. The Gooder glasses are, they're just basic Wayfair design.
Okay. Okay.
And they're $25.
They were on Shark Tank, right?
I don't know, but
Yeah,
they
anyway.
kind of got like rubberized
Yeah.
texture on the side, so they stick to your
Yes.
face pretty well.
Yes.
I don't know. I know they're UV resistant, but I don't know if they're polarized. I don't think they are.
Yeah.
But they're always $25.
Yeah.
And so like brand new, off the shelf, the MSRP, $25.
$25.
So they're never really expensive, and they look good enough.
Yeah. They do the job.
They do the job.
Yeah.
But you do. I mean,
I'm gonna go to Sierra then, because I've been wanting some sunglasses.
they've got all kinds. I had 2 different pairs in my cart today, and I decided to buy the girls' baseball hats, and so I put my other pair of cheapo sunglasses back. But
Nice.
I like to buy them in pairs.
Okay,
If I can
yeah,
get
for
2
sure.
pair for $20,
It's killer.
and then I keep one in the truck all the time,
Yeah.
and then
That's
you know,
killer.
I lose the other one. So no, I don't know what happened to my other sunglasses, but yeah. So I'm on the hunt for waterproof backpack cooler that's comfortable,
Yeah.
that keeps crap cold. I got high aspirations for this thing, and then freaking cheap sunglasses
Yeah.
that don't suck.
Yeah.
So-
I feel like if you were like a superhero, you would be like utility man,
Like stuff guy.
and your belt would just have every single thing in it that anyone could use at any given time. you know, and that's what yours would. Everything would be practical use, and like there's nothing that you don't have that you could pull out of your utility belt.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like you would be.
Thank you. I think that's a compliment.
You're welcome.
I'm not really sure.
It is a compliment.
So,
like you just think of things that I'm like, I don't know. I don't know some of these things, and we've talked about this before. Like you've come up with top 10 lists of things and items, and you've had to walk me through what I could pick.
Yeah, that's true. Well, because I appreciate a good item. Like
you do.
Something
really do.
that
but it's useful.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it is you can come up with these items, but they're useful.
Yeah.
Me, I like items, but they're not freaking useful.
Oh, yeah. See, I want it to be useful. It's like I'm trying to find what are the things that I could not live without, and it's really good for my brain when I have found the ultimate of whatever. So, for example, like our little bullet journal books that fit in your back pocket. I'll never buy another bullet journal.
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't say that. But I'm not looking to go buy another bullet journal because I like this system the best because it fits in my pocket. They're also inexpensive.
They're amazing.
They're great. So I like that.
I don't like that there's only 40 days in one journal.
Oh, I love that, man.
But they just keep you coming back. You're going to have to buy more, and that's what they want.
I guess it's true. But, it keeps it small enough. And it's also like if you tank it, like if you know.
But I'm doing a day a page. Right. Instead of I know like I think you do one day is the 2 pages, right?
Yeah, I do.
So I do one day a page.
Oh man, you're
and
crazy.
So I'm getting double. I'm trying to get 80 days.
Mr. Efficient. Mr. Efficient. So, hey, there's no wrong way to bullet journal. I wouldn't do it that way, but
I do really appreciate. You're wrong. I do really appreciate your finding of items that are useful because for me, I went to the pen. Oh man. Now you've changed my life on pens. So I went to a garage sale yesterday at my friend Jeremy's house, who just walked in.
Oh, okay.
And I said, "Man, I'm going to go to these garage sales, and I'm going to find something I could use for my house or for outdoors or something."
Yeah.
You know what I bought? 3 animal furs.
So when the winter sets in, you can keep yourself warm by the fire.
I bought a coyote, a raccoon. And I didn't want the third one, but it came in the set, a skunk. And Kia looks at me. She says, "What are you going to do with these?" And I said, "I don't know, but I'm going to have them."
Dude, I am interested. I just thought about this. Like, she's totally going to rearrange your whole decor.
Dude, what we're sitting in right now is actually going to be a dining room.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So this kind of office sitting area is going to be downstairs.
Okay.
And then there's going to be like a den and like a office area downstairs, like a reading nook, and like where there's going to be a different desk and all that. So this is going to be a little breakfast nook where we can actually come and I can invite people over and we can actually have dinner here.
That's pretty cool.
Because we can't have dinner right now.
No.
So I got to find somewhere to put my belt. My championship belt up there.
Yeah, that may have been a poor investment.
under $20, it was not a poor investment. It was the greatest investment.
Whatever. All right, so what about you? What's on your summer wish list?
Believe it or not, I am in search of, this is a very frustrating find for me because I really felt like I found them last year. But we'll get to that in a second.
Oh yeah, you didn't find them.
Yeah, I am on the hunt for a perfect set of patio chairs. Okay, so last year I said, okay, just to be honest, I'd lost some weight.
Yeah.
And I could fit in the plastic Adirondack chairs.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, I want to save some money, just $20. I'm going to get 2 Adirondack chairs and it's going to be fine. Well, I bought them and I hated them. Okay, hated those plastic, and they're too far back. Now I like an Adirondack chair, but there's some that just go way too far back, and I feel like I'm practically laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I got a bonus from work last year, $200 bonus.
Heyo.
Whew. And I was at Farm and Home, and I saw these wooden, beautiful Adirondack chairs, and beautiful. I sat down, and it was the perfect position.
The perfect
I wasn't
pitch.
Too far back.
That's right.
I was just up enough, but I was just back enough.
Yeah.
It was wide enough. It was solid. I was like, this is the best Adirondack chair I've ever sat in.
Oh my gosh.
And I said,
okay, I'm going to buy 2 of these and put them out front, and I'm going to take my little box chairs and put them in the back where the patio was, or I had them on the patio, and they were perfect. I've had those things for a while. They're great chairs, but I need another set for the front and the back.
That's right.
So I bought. They were on sale for $60 for wooden Adirondack chairs. It's pretty cheap these days.
Yeah, it's crazy cheap.
And I bought them.
That should have been your sign.
Yeah, I know. Well, I bought 2 white ones and got one home, got one put together, then opened the next box and it was shattered. The wood was broken, had to take it back. Well, I ended up getting one I didn't want, didn't match the other one. It was a natural wood or whatever. So in the winter, I moved those down in the basement for us to sit and do the podcast in. And lo and behold, the cheap wood of these things, the white one is still fine, but the one with the natural wood color completely broke on me.
That's right.
I mean, and there was no reason for it to break. Like, I know I'm a hefty fella, but the white one I set in all summer and it was fine. No problems with it. So now I'm really frustrated because I have this white chair that I can't put out front because my little neighbor with dementia thinks it's her chair and she'll come and get it. So I can't put my white Adirondack chair. It's a true story. It's not a lie. She had someone come. She had Jeremy's son actually come and get the chair and say it was hers. God love her heart.
Oh man,
she's creepy, but we love her.
Oh my. So you want chairs?
So we want chairs. I want a set of chairs that are perfect. I don't think I'm going with Adirondack. I think I'm mixing it up. I think I'm just going to go and look for some chairs. I'm going to go to Menards. I'm going to go to Lowe's, and I'm going to try to find. There's a set at Lowe's that I think may possibly be perfect, and they're under $200 for a set of 2. And I think for Lowe's that's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing
because all the rest of them are like $500 plus.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm sorry, I don't have the money, and I'm not going to spend the money.
I mean, garage sales are the way to go.
Garage sales are the way to go.
That's how we got all our patio furniture.
Yeah.
We got it like a freaking steal.
Yeah.
I almost bought the other day at a garage sale. They had a rowing machine, brand new rowing machine, $40. And I wanted it so bad.
Really?
But I was like, I already have gym equipment in my garage that is inaccessible.
Yeah, you can't get
I can't get more.
Yeah, I get more.
I got to do something about the crap I got before I add more crap to my, crap collection.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking for they've just got, and I do need to go and search some garage sales because it's garage sale season here.
That's right.
And so I just need to find the perfect, and I got to set in them. I can't order them online. I've got to set my butt down in it.
You got to set it.
And I've got to imagine.
Not sit. Set.
You're right.
Got to set it.
And I've got to imagine this is me on my summer vacation.
That's right.
Or my summer break, and I'm reading a book.
Yep.
And I'm having
just
coffee.
setting your ear right there.
And a cigar. Bless God. And I gotta feel what it feels like. So I'm really
feel
picky.
What it feels like.
I'm really picky.
You gotta feel it. You gotta feel what it feels like.
I gotta feel what that feels like.
You're ridiculous.
Freaking ridiculous. I would say that's about as practical as I'm getting, and that's about as useful as my summer wish list. I don't know of anything else.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to think if there's anything else that I really gotta have.
Yeah. I mean, I got animal furs. What else do I need?
It's true. What else do you possibly need? I know what I'm on the hunt for, and this really isn't like a summer thing. I'll save it. Never mind. I'll save it. All right, cool. So, the things you need, the stuff you want. I talked about last episode that I've got a problem with gluttony, and that extends beyond food. It's like stuff, too. And so, working on fasting, that kind of stuff. We never really delved into your problem,
which one?
Just the one that you want to tackle.
Which personality's problem?
Yeah. Whoa, hey now. People don't need to know about that.
Yeah,
This is podcast Cody time.
We're not that podcast.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But So one of the things we said last week is like talk about, name your problem because you can't defeat what you haven't defined. Right. You know?
Man.
Man, it's such good stuff. Right there.
I think I heard that somewhere.
Quotable quote.
If you say it more than 3 times, it's yours. So I'm going to say I've said it 3 episodes, so it's my quote.
That's right. Actually, I said it right there. So
there you go. So,
sorry.
So you're getting ready to take it if you say it 2
anyway,
more times.
Like Beetlejuice. Anyway, back to, you can't defeat what you haven't defined.
Yeah.
What is it that you're dealing with right now? Like that part of you that you're like, man, I know this already, but you're reading a specific book to help deal with this. What is it?
I think right now I have figured out that I'm very defensive.
Yeah.
I hear, and what I mean by that is I hear things defensively. Does
Like
that make
what?
sense? Like if Kia will say something,
Okay.
and again, I don't think Kia minds me sharing this.
Sure.
Like if Kia will say something to me, I've got to be careful on how I hear it.
Okay.
Because I could hear it from a place of criticism.
Yeah.
Or a place of correction.
Yeah.
And it's not that. And it's that, and I think that's a root of insecurity, maybe some pride and defensiveness that I have that I don't think I've ever really checked. I don't think I know that I'm insecure. I know that I've had pride and selfishness and all that stuff. But we were in premarital counseling, and I think we did a personality. It was a big personality test, and I think one of the things that I was really high in was defensiveness, and I was like, whatever.
I'm not defensive.
And that's exactly. And I looked at Kia. I was like, "You think I'm defensive?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "This is bogus."
What's this stupid test know about nothing? It's just a test.
So
Don't you tell me who I am.
so I was really checked by that.
Yeah.
And Kia was like, "I think you do hear some. Like, I do think you hear some of what I say in a defensive way." And
then how do you respond to that? No, I don't. Freaking idiot.
Well, I don't think it's defensiveness, Kia.
Yeah, right.
You know.
See.
So I kind of,
I got to tell the story. So I was in high school. I don't know how often I've talked about Roby, but Roby was my best friend in high school.
Yeah.
And Roby was great, but Roby was a little bit of a bully, as in like if you didn't do what Roby wanted you to do,
okay,
like I had to resort to like persuasion.
Yeah.
Roby's persuasion was, I'm gonna punch you in the face. Do it, or I'm gonna hit you. And so one time in school, I said, Roby, after he didn't, or he wanted his way and he was gonna punch me to get it. I said, Roby, you're a bully, and he goes, no, I'm not. I said, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I don't do this, what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna hit you, and I'm gonna hit you again for calling me a bully. I said, that's exactly right. You're a bully.
That's
and he's
a bully.
like, now you're gonna get hit. So I got hit twice. But that's
oh man.
and I was right, but I still had 2 bruises. Go
You
ahead.
need to talk about that a little bit more. You need to unpack that.
Well, getting punched by my friend.
Being bullied by your friend.
Listen, it was a different time. You know,
yeah.
like, you used to be able to punch your friends and,
For sure.
didn't go to jail. Anyway, or get canceled. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You receive this news.
yeah.
And
man.
it's hard to be defensive about feeling like,
Yeah.
so like, there's no way of refuting defensiveness without being defensive.
Exactly. So then like when I started pulling on that thread, which is, I like saying that recently.
Yeah. Especially today. Three episodes deep. Here he is pulling the thread.
Still pulling on the thread.
Still using the,
When is this thread?
you can't defeat what you can't define.
So it was just kind of like, man, okay, wait a minute. Let me try to go down this road and see. All right, because I know I'm insecure.
Yeah.
I know a lot of insecurity came, from my fear of failure, and all this stuff came, and it really affected a lot of things in my life, and it branched out, and that's, and believe it or not, it was like the root of a lot of issues that you wouldn't really tie to a fear of failure, but it could, like it.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, when you start asking yourself those questions, it's like, oh crap, that connects.
Yeah.
So I started doing the same thing with defensiveness, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm pretty defensive. And it may be like when I'm hearing Kia say something and I'm taking it the wrong way, it may be not how she's saying it. It may be that I'm hearing with defensive ears. And it may be that insecurity and that, why are we so quick to hear and be defensive and feel the need to defend ourselves so quickly?
Yeah.
So when we would have conversations and then I would kind of take something a certain way, and Kia would be like, "Don't get defensive," and I was like, "I'm not defensive, Kia."
It makes it even worse.
Yeah, like, I'm not being defensive, Kia, and like and don't hear us wrong. Like we don't fight a lot, but like we do have hard conversations sometimes, and like conversations do go south sometimes, and a lot of the miscommunication, I look back and I'm like, oh, when I settle down and ask myself these questions, like why did I feel this way in this moment? Man, I started seeing like, oh wow, I heard this in a very defensive way, and I heard this in a very critical way, and some of it is insecurity. I want to be careful. Some of it come from a place of, how do I say this without sounding like I'm, well, some of it come from a place of like, obviously I wasn't in a healthy marriage before. And I don't want to paint this as, I don't want people to hear this and paint this like I'm not victimizing myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me lead with that. I'm not victimizing myself. I'm not a victim. I was a crappy husband. But I think the relationship was crappy. And a lot of the defensiveness I feel comes from that.
Okay.
It comes from feeling inadequate.
Yeah.
As a husband. And a lot of what I'm doing now is I'm trying to not be that person. And sometimes I get defensive because I hear that I am that person. And I have to remember that I am not that person. And I have to remember my identity right now.
Yeah.
And my identity right now says I am a child of God. I am redeemed by God, and I am secure in Christ.
Yeah.
So when I hear, a lot of times my insecurity says, oh, she's saying you're like, you used to be, and she doesn't even say anything remotely related to that, but it's what my defensiveness and my insecurity
she hit a nerve, that's like,
exactly.
That she didn't even know was there. And I get that.
Yeah.
And, I think defensiveness, it's always one of the, it ebbs and flows. There's people that are naturally defensive and they just hold a posture of defensiveness. And it's usually, you're right, it comes usually from a place of insecurity.
Yeah, for sure.
Then there's things like, there's people that are more defensive about certain things.
Yeah.
And it's, and I think that's more common. I think that everybody has that to a degree. It's like, I'm generally not very defensive until you say this thing.
Yeah.
Like if there's something that especially draws me back to an identity that I've worked hard to push against.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about the things that I get defensive about. It's usually that it stems from insecurity.
Yeah,
is what it always is.
Yeah, and that fear of failure.
Yeah,
which was when going through counseling was the big, like, hard idol that I had that connected so many dots of like, wow, you have a fear of failure, so you this, or so you this, or so you this, and it really ties back to this deep fear of I'm gonna be the crappy guy I used to be, and I fear that still, and I constantly have to remind myself that the gospel has freed me from my need to defend myself.
Yeah.
Jesus has freed me from that.
Right.
And it's almost like I was also defensive in my previous marriage. I was defensive with my ex-wife. I would shift the blame because I was so insecure. And this insecurity and all this, it goes back way before I was even married.
Yeah.
It goes back before that. And so yes, I was much worse, but now it's almost like I'm defensive about being defensive because that's how I used to be.
Yeah.
So I'm almost, it's like almost I'm double,
right.
You know, and I'm almost to a fault trying really hard not to be this person, but I'm not who that person was.
Yeah.
Because of not anything that I'm doing. It's because of who Jesus is in my life.
Yeah.
And so I have to consistently remind myself of the identity that I have right now. And that identity is I'm a child of God.
Right.
And I run back to the Father who was waiting on me, and I have no need to be defensive when he handed me a ring and a robe, and he threw a party for me, and he said, "My son who was dead is now alive again."
Yeah.
And I have to almost preach to my. I'll call him. He's a friend. I'll also call him a mentor because he worked with me in college and just kind of shaped my idea of what sanctification looked like and all that stuff. And,
yeah.
and he said, I have to preach to myself daily.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to preach the gospel, and I have to remember the gospel every single day.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at with this is, and I have some books I'm going to read, and I love digging into resources about it because I've never really looked at defensiveness.
Yeah.
I've really never went on this journey of like, okay, like, yeah, man, the big things like, oh yeah, let's work on lust. Let's work on insecurity. Let's work on all these other things. But a lot of men will look over is defensiveness. Mm-hmm. And when I see that, and I'm like, oh man, that's changing how I have conversations.
Yeah.
But it's above having conversations, it's changing how I hear.
Yeah.
And listen.
Right.
Because, okay, am I listening from this place of insecurity and defensiveness and my fear of failure?
Yeah.
Or am I listening with an open heart, with an open mind, and hearing what she's trying to say, or whoever. It's not just Kia, whoever. Like even at work.
Right.
If someone says something, am I hearing it from a defensive place?
Yeah.
And am I getting aggravated at this person because of how they said this, because of my own defensiveness and my fear of not doing my job well? Or am I actually hearing what they're saying? You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's the couple remedies to defensiveness.
Yeah.
The first is knowing who you are.
Yeah.
And knowing your identity, but also your shortcomings.
Yeah.
And being comfortable with. So if somebody calls out something I'm bad at,
yeah,
I'm not going to defend it. It's just it's true. I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
And I've worked to get better at it, and I am better than I used to be, and I'm still not that great at it. It's not something that comes easy to me, and I'm just not very good at that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't give me a pass on it, but I also am not going to tell you that I'm good at something when I'm not. And I'm not going to pass the blame because it's just a reality of I'm a dude that is imperfect.
Yeah.
And I'm also a dude that is bad at some stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, again, not saying that's okay to be like just to throw up your hands and be like, I'm just not that guy. No, you got to get better at those things, but it's also doesn't do you any favors to pretend you're good at something that you're not.
Right.
Right. And so knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're bad at, but again, and knowing who you are means that there are certain accusations that, or like, things that could be said about me that I just am not going to be defensive of because I just know they're not true.
Yeah.
Like they're just not true of who I am. So you don't either know me, or the other remedy to defensiveness is humility to know that it might not be about you.
Yep.
It's like whatever the problem is might be something that person is dealing with.
Yeah.
Or it might be an isolated situation, and it may not be a whole identity thing. It might have been you just said something you shouldn't have said.
Right.
That you didn't consider the implications of, or I didn't consider the implications of my words when I said them.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm careless, and it doesn't mean that I'm mean.
Yep.
But it means that I spoke something that I shouldn't have said, and so I need to work that back and walk that back, and it takes no small degree of humility to be able to say, you know what? I see where you got there.
Yeah.
And so having that kind of posture is critical as and to your to your credit, and what you're saying is I think about the most difficult relationships that I have.
Yeah.
And they're marred by defensiveness.
Yeah.
It's just
man.
the inability to say,
Same.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I did this wrong.
Yep.
And what ends up happening is those relationships, you don't pursue them. If it's a friendship, you don't pursue it anymore.
Yeah.
And if it's like a ministry partnership,
Wow.
there will always be tension.
Wow.
You know, and if it's, like if it's a spouse, you're going to go through counseling.
Yeah.
A lot
For
of counseling, and it's a lot of working together,
For
bringing in a third party to help you both come to a conclusion on that. But
Correct.
no, I mean, defensiveness, it's never in and of itself the problem, but it is a symptom that points to
Yep. That's it.
insecurity,
Yep.
doubts of who you are, and maybe, just maybe, it also points to underlying sin that has not been dealt with.
Yeah, man.
And not the sin of insecurity or sin of selfishness or whatever.
Yeah.
But like some people I know that when they get defensive over any kind of character question, it is they know my business and I'm not ready to deal with it. And they may not know your business.
That's correct.
But for like them
That's
to
correct,
say
man.
something that alludes to you having character that is not up to snuff
Yeah.
with that of Jesus,
Yeah.
man, it's people are peeling back a layer, and it sets people off.
Yeah.
And
that was absolutely that was me for many years. I carried all this into a marriage.
Yeah.
So it was, it was already there.
Yeah.
And I didn't ever know how to deal with it. I didn't know it was there to deal with. I had no idea. Had so many issues. And that was absolutely the case with the peeling back. Oh, you're
Yeah.
Exactly what you said there.
Yeah. Well, and what I think is great though is like you recognize that defensiveness isn't the problem.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
problem isn't you're defensive.
No.
The problem is that you have something.
There's an insecurity. There's a fear of failure.
There's an underlying issue.
Yeah.
Fear of failure. I
Yeah.
forgot about that part.
Yeah.
But like, there's something underlying that is causing this. This is a symptom, not the disease.
Yes.
And so you got to
Correct.
treat the disease so that the symptoms go away.
Yeah. I've been talking about identity the past week or two, and kind of what that looks like. And there's this Patrick had talked to me. We'd had a conversation, and he's walked me through this and unknowingly like hit on some stuff in text like that was really tracking with me what I was dealing with spiritually and all this stuff, like who I am in Christ, and he would say, and it's funny, he'd say, you're not a bad apple. And I was like, man, okay, I think you're right. I believe that. But it also has been a daily battle of reminding myself, I'm redeemed. I'm God's child.
Yeah.
I'm God's son. I'm adopted into this family, and I'm the son that the Father loves so much
Yeah.
that he waits on. And he says, I'm going to throw a party for you.
Yeah.
You know? And I bring that back up, but it's like, I posted this, but I wonder, because also it's like, man, I can't worry about what other people think. I have to worry about what God is doing in my life and what God is thinking of me.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and I said this in the post, like I wonder if the prodigal son was worried about what the other people in the house was thinking of him when he came running back, or did he just take the ring and the robe and go enjoy the party that his father was throwing for him?
I doubt that, but yeah, especially when older brothers hanging out in the barn throwing a fit,
right?
You know,
and I want to know, like I want to know what.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But I was going somewhere and kind of lost it a little bit. But
no, I like what you're saying though, and I think that what you're saying is super relatable.
Yeah,
but I'm interested to see how that book changes that for you.
Yeah,
I think that I'm interested to see how that changes over time, like the defensiveness and
and I think because I feel like you mentioned symptoms. I feel like that fear of failure, that identity crisis, almost that insecurity that I have walked through since going through divorce has been an interesting journey, and finding things that like, oh man, I didn't realize that this could definitely be the underlying issue, and this was a symptom of this issue, and this was a symptom of this root. Yeah. And this idol that's in my life. Yeah. And I think the more you peel back, the more you walk through, it's like, oh, here's another symptom. Because it may not be coming out anymore as this symptom over here, because like I recognize that now. Yeah. I defined it. Yeah. That's right. But it's coming, it's branched off, and there's another branch. Yeah. That's now coming out. And it's like, oh, now it's coming out as defensiveness. Yeah. So it's just it's a root work and a heart work, and it's a very, it's tough to, when you go back to the potter and you let him, just continue to form you and reform and rework and just and just that work that the potter does is never an easy work on us. Yeah. And sometimes we have to go back to the potter's house a lot, and just let him keep on working. And here's the thing: we're in between the already and the not yet. Yeah. And the reality is that we are not yet made perfect. Right. And and I said this in the last episode, like, God, take some time on me. Yeah. And that's what he's doing. And shoot. Dang on it. But I'm thankful that he still wants to take time with me. And I'm really thankful for that, because that's a beautiful place to be. Yeah. That's a beautiful place to be, is in the hands of a father who is still willing to take time with you. So I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to be thankful that God is letting me see where my problems are. What's your problem? Well, all right, God, show me. Yeah. Show me where that I got it wrong. Yeah. And if I heard this wrong, show me. And show me how to fix it. And I don't know. So yeah. I love it. It's a good place to be, man. It's not easy. No. It's never easy, but man, that work is a beautiful work. Yeah. And sometimes it's a beautiful pain, and and I know as men, we don't like not being able to fix things on our own. Right. And we don't like, well, maybe not all men. I know I'm definitely learning, how to walk through this, but like, we don't like knowing that we suck sometimes. Yeah. Like we don't like hearing that we may not be good at this. Yeah. And we may may get it wrong. And especially me coming from like this, I do have a fear of failing. I have a fear of failing people. Well, I failed people on a grand scale. I failed people.
Yeah.
And I still have to walk through that battle of regret and shame. And again, that's a whole nother thing. But, and a lot of that has been, I've walked through that already, but just the feeling of like, man, I disappointed this person, or I failed this person, or I hurt this person, or it's a when you have that fear of failure, that insecurity, and then you fell on that grand scale, it's hard to, it's just hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And then you hear a lot of identity words like,
right.
Oh, you're never going to change.
Right.
Oh, you are. Oh, and then when something pops up that may be like who you were or what, or anything like that, it's like, oh, see,
yeah,
you're still that person.
Yeah. But just like what you just said though, is like, thank God we've got a Father who is not just willing, but desires to work with us, and to rework us and to be patient in the process of that. And so, I mean, you're right. It's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
So
there are things we can do. There are practices that
that's
we can
right.
do, like fasting, like solitude and silence. There are so many things that we can do that will bring us close to the Father.
That's right.
And let us sit in His presence and let Him work on us.
That's right.
And thank God for that.
That's the
Thank
truth.
God for His desire to work on us.
Yes.
Back in the day, the old saints used to say, God is still working on me.
Yep.
And I'm thankful for that.
That's the truth.
Yeah, man.
And you're just a young saint. So
I'm just a young saint.
that's right.
Woo.
Yeah.
That's my new rap name.
I know. Oh man. Well, hey, this is great.
Yeah, dude.
This three-part series has been great.
It's been great.
And man, I'm excited to get together again and talk about all the things that God's been doing in our life. Yeah, man. Life's been happening while we've been on these trips.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great summer.
I'm excited. Great summer, dude.
Anyway, well, hey, I love you.
I love you.
I'm proud of you. I'm thankful for the work that God's doing in your life.
Yeah, me
so,
too,
why don't you tell people what they want to hear?
Hey, God loves us first.
Yep.
God loves us best.
Yep.
And absolutely, God loves us most.
That's right.
This is the Bad Apples Podcast. Bye.
Bye.